everyone. Welcome to LiveCast Conversations With. This is episode 57, and as always, I'm your host, Gene Bernier, the Enjoyment Coach. Today, we get to have my good friend Nader Mowlaee on the show today, all the way from New Zealand. Nader, thank you so much for being here. So if you haven't met Nader before, Nader is the founder of EngineerYourMission.com, the creator of the Job Search Acceleration System, an all-inclusive career coaching program designed to help engineers and technologists make successful career transitions without wasting time or dealing with any of the anxiety that typically goes along with it. Nader is an electronics engineer who is inspired by building confidence in people who are struggling with job searching. He loves helping people develop the courage it takes to take calculated actions to securing job interviews and landing high-paying job offers, as well as helping job seekers avoid the job search stress and become the happiest versions of themselves. Nader, these words can only do you a minor part of justice of all the good things that you bring to the table, sir.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me. It's always great speaking with you.
Always.
And I'm going to do my best today. Apologies for everyone who's watching for my mysterious look, the hat and the jacket. Going through a little bit of a thing right now. So I got to keep my head, You're
a little under the weather, but you're still here and you're present. So I just want to honor that and thank you so much for stepping into this. So
100%, man, 100%.
Tell us a little bit about your mission and what initially kind of got you down this road of going from an engineer yourself to now helping people engineer their next careers.
I made the transition, or I felt that I felt the need, in the market and looking people around me, because I didn't have anyone helping me do what I want to do. So if you look at, we go back like 2007, 2008, 2009, all the way to 2010. I graduated school, had a degree in electronics engineering, specialized in embedded software development, had a very successful project coming out of school within the healthcare medical device sector really well. So I was just like, man, I've got a really cool engineering career ahead of me. Either would be medical device manufacturing or get into like automotive manufacturing, like kind of like my family, follow the family's footsteps.
Yeah.
But, whether, I often blame the recession, the last recession, 2008 market, housing market crash and everything, for me not getting the chance or the opportunity that I was promised, that I was hoping I get. But regardless of that, I really needed help, and many other engineers like me needed help to get the right job, to build the career they wanted, and have clarity in doing it. I felt so much lack of confidence at a time because I just didn't know what's the right career, which companies are the right companies for me, forgetting who hires or how to get a job, but I just didn't know what to do. I felt helpless. So that's what led to me leaving the career path that I was, aspiring to gain. And I just got a job in a telecommunications company, first job that didn't require an engineering degree, but it was like, it felt me feel like, okay, I'm doing cool stuff,
Yeah.
Half the, I was promised to get paid $30 an hour. My first job paid $14.90. So just under half of what I was looking for. But hey, that was it, So I kind of like gave up. Frankly, I can say that I gave up on my path, on my dream, worked in telecommunications, answering phone calls basically all day, helping people fix their phone.
Yeah.
And right after that, I got into technical sales because I heard technical salespeople make more money. That's how complicated my decision making was. It was super simple.
You were chasing the dollar.
Yeah, exactly, right. It's like, where do people make money? Oh, technical sales. Like, cool, I'm gonna do that. So we just would blindfolded, went into a technical sales job, hated it. And 2010 came in August. I was just basically desperate, looking for work. And that's the first time I learned about recruitment services, what recruiters are, what do they do. And it just sounded like found a mermaid, it was like, people like this exist, how come I couldn't do this if I didn't know this before? Even just that knowledge wasn't available to me. So long story short, man, I got into the recruiting industry, contacted them looking for a job, but they ended up hiring me because of the weird combination of skills that I had and the drive that I really want to get hired, and so many people have this problem. So you guys are so in demand. Ultimately, long story short, got hired as a recruiter, and the rest is history. I just felt like at home. I loved helping people go from where they are to where they wanted to be, get a better job, you know, ultimately find fulfillment in their life and their career. And that's what allowed me to make this transition and just leaving job, working as an engineer completely behind.
Well, in a way, you're helping engineer the future for other people, right? And teach them how to build it. And that takes a curiosity, it takes an engineer's mindset to get into there, because like you experienced, there's a lot of like unknowns. So you can either face those unknowns and go, great, what are we going to explore today? Or see all those unknowns, go, I'm going to go sit on the couch. Like, this is too much. I don't know even where to begin.
Yeah, I love what I do. I love, speaking with engineers, technologists, scientists, because like, frankly, like I'm a nerd. So like I love reading this stuff. Every time like we talk about something, I'm like people that I work with, some of them might be watching us right now. Like I project so much energy and I really mean it. Everything I do, I'm just like about to jump out of my skin because I really care about whatever that thing is. It's
right.
I don't know what's wrong with me, but
I wouldn't say anything's wrong with you. It sounds like you are so closely aligned to what it means to be fulfilled, right? To be able to do that you get excited to show up to do that. Like, you flip that back to Nader from 2010. He was dying to find that, right? And how many other 2010 Naders are out there, right? Like I've been through that myself, going, man, like I'm good at what I do, but I fucking kind of hate it, right? Like it just is like, it's draining. And like knowing that, like having that can be really hard for a person, like to be in a position, be like, I make good money, I'm good at what I do, and none of this is actually exciting me at all and draining me and making me miserable and a prick at home and all those other wonderful things that go along with depression and all the other issues that happen.
Yeah, it's so true, man. I've been depressed multiple times throughout my life, caused by different parts of my journey, part of my life. But a significant one was actually like leaving engineering behind and like literally like letting down my dad. Like there's nothing worse than that. Like your dad raised you, and I know that's pretty like old school and traditional, but like everyone in our family is an engineer, and I'm the oldest son of the oldest son. It's like
Yeah.
that's like you become the best engineer in the family. It's like boom, I went all the way down. So
Well,
it's just like letting people down and letting myself down got me to like really bad places. Starting to smoke, drinking, alcohol, drugs, and just like things that were scary. Things that were unsafe. So when someone is going through like a chapter of their life right now, maybe like career transition, they've gone through this pandemic, the recession that comes with it, just like the recession that I went through in the past, and the one that went through in 2001. Like I can relate, I get it. I feel it in my heart first. I'm a very intuitive person, and I encourage everyone to be intuitive. Although it's hard, and I know how difficult it is to go with feelings. You have to graduate up to that level, or really trust someone who's willing to guide you intuitively. Because then we're really following our passion. We're following what we want to do, not what we think we need to do right now, just to get to the next step.
I agree, man. The like our heads are incredible creative machines, but the reality is they're a filter, not a conduit for what actually is going to spark you joy, right? That's going to come from, some people may think this is woo-woo, but it comes from within the body, it comes from within the heart. Like our body intelligence is like screaming, going, what are you doing? This is not in alignment. This isn't like, you're going to get sick. It's going to lead you, like you said, addictions and things like that come up really quick when you're in those kind of states, and your body's telling you. You're going to feel like it in your gut and your tension across your chest, and you're going to get sick easy. Like these are all like signals, and that's exactly what it is. It's a signal going, hey, you're in the wrong spot. Start doing just one thing the other way. Let's start with one.
Yeah, Yeah, it's unfortunately, I, I I say this humbly because I've done that before as well. I've looked for instant gratification myself as well, which are the everything we just talked about,
Yeah.
the negative aspects. But there's this general pattern that a lot of us are looking for that instant gratification rather than delayed gratification.
Yeah.
So where I hit a roadblock in coaching is where I coach by focusing on fundamentals. You know, how to make tea when someone just wants you to hand them a cup of tea.
Right.
So that's where again, because I see myself like as soon as someone does that, says something, they might be even doing it. Most of the times they do it unconsciously. They didn't even realize it. I instantly get that, and I first of all I see myself in them. I was just like, this person is a really bad place I used to be,
Yeah.
and the challenge becomes how do I guide this person to go from where they are to where they ought to be, and what is that next step on that journey. And I'm really journey focused rather than the destination, because the destination sure would love to start with the end in mind, but and we do some visualization of what that end would look like just so it motivates us every day, gets us out of bed. Whenever we're down, we say that, hey, this is my vision, I want to get
Yeah.
there. But often, the vision, the destination you get to is different than what you had originally visualized, right? So if you don't know the journey that you went on, if you're unfamiliar, if you were just force fed the steps, the actions that you had to do to get to that destination, and when, not if, when it looks a little bit different than what you had originally visualized or dreamed of, you're going to be depressed. You're not going to like what you achieve because it's not what you had, what you
Yeah.
wanted, and you don't know how you got here. Somebody just told you to do something and you just blindly did it, and you're basically back at square one. You're in a different
Yeah.
place, but it's a new square one. And I see a lot of those. I see a lot of situations, a lot of these, like ultimately victims of misinformation,
Yeah.
misguidance, or someone who just, again, it's very like transactional in their coaching, in their mentorship, in their support, or whatever that is, in the way they help.
Well, that's a great, comment there about it being transactional. And that works when you're a SaaS product selling like a widget to fulfill a simple need. But when you're working with people, like the reality is it's relationship based, right? Like you're looking to understand the person, and half the time they may not even understand themselves, like at a true sense. They've been layered on with all these external perceptions and judgments and expectations that they've wrapped around going, I think this is me. And really the real them is like screaming from the inside going, I don't know what to do next. I'm so scared. And then you start ripping those away. And that's that discomfort you talk about. Like, of course, like going through any shift, like there's a component of grief to it, regardless of, this isn't about right or wrong. It's like, can this be better? And to get to better, like you're pulling stuff that you used to feel was you. And there's a component of that grief that you have to go look at it, give it its due and let it go a little bit so that you can start making those steps forward, because it gets really messy. And it's interesting, like you talked about, like having a goal just to anchor to something to get you moving forward. Is like, I just read a Bruce Lee quote today that was like very similar to that. Like, it's not always about getting to the destination. Sometimes just having that goal is all you need is to aim at until you can find out what is that next goal going to be. Because
Yeah.
like everything, like we evolve, and so do our goals. And it kind of sounds like you've been through a few evolutions. I know that you're actually in the middle of another one too, right?
Yeah, 100%. Because things are changing just so much faster around us, and there's so much. We look outside so much, we look for external validation, we look for external guidance. Unfortunately, again, I'm guilty of this too. Maybe not 10 out of 10 things that I'm being negatively affected by, or affected by, negative or positive, it's just relative.
Yeah.
Is not every single thing is stimulated or tickled externally. So I try to do as many things as I can internally, so it's my decision. But most of the times, unfortunately, most people, and I don't blame them, the world is crazy. We're going through a ridiculous time in the time of our species right now,
Yeah.
Like this little thing that I get a little headache, I was just like, oh my God, could it be, where later, before it could be just, oh yeah, and I know, like I went for a long walk in wind, crazy winds here, rain, got soaked and came back, and I probably like my sinuses got cold a little bit. So like, but there's so many things are happening. Fear has turned into the virus itself.
Yeah.
That we kind of like, what? It might be this, it might be that, and we just start to go into this overload.
Yeah.
And we can't make decisions anymore. We lose hope of our ability to achieve our goals, develop, get to that vision. And when we get to that next milestone and it's not what we expected it to be, we fail to look back and see where we went wrong. Because
Yeah.
like you're doing everything, it's like instead of going through like a simple 3-step process that are based on fundamentals of going from here, point A to point B, you went through like 15 different steps from 5 different sources. 2 of them are conflicting with each other.
Yeah.
So you don't even know how because sometimes you go through step number 1 and 2, you go through 3, and then you go to your destination and you fail. If you know about those 3 steps well, you can just go back and fix that step.
Yeah.
You don't have to go and start another 3-step process or another 5-step process. You actually know when you failed.
Yeah.
And so that's what I try to do when I coach, when I help, and sometimes I feel bad because sometimes even the answer, I can give you the answer, but as a coach, what's challenging is like, I know if I give you the answer, it's just, I'm doing you disjustice,
Yeah.
and it's not going to be the right thing to do, but I could just give you the answer to send you your way right now. You'll have food to eat tonight, but
Yeah.
now I'm teaching you how to make tea. Now I'm teaching you how to fish, so it feels bad, and it's just part of our personal development journey as well.
Yeah. Well,
For you to help someone gain joy and fulfillment, there's different paths you can see to get to that same destination, but what is the best one for this person?
Well, exactly, right. And it's like if we strip away the opportunity for them to do the work, what happens when they do? Not if, when they fall back on their face or they hit another failure and they still haven't come to terms with what it means for them to fail, right? Like failure isn't a bad thing. Like we've gotten this like weird concept of like, oh, if you fail, like this is the end of the world. It's like the metaphor about like, would you look at a baby and be like, oh, you failed, don't ever try walking again? Be like, of course not. Fall on your ass, pick yourself back up, try again, hold on to the couch for a little bit, take another step and see what's going to work. Is like, to get where you need to go is going to take work and it's going to be hard. You can either have the hard, I'll use air quotes here, the hard life now for the easy life later, or you can take the easy route knowing you are building up a massive, massive debt that is for your life that is going to be extremely difficult to pay off the further you kick that can down the street.
Yeah. Patience, patience, patience. We lack so much patience.
One more time, patience.
Patience, right? Did I say patience?
I don't.
Were we talking about patience earlier? Before we go live, I was sharing with you how I'm going through this phase of, moving to a different hemisphere and the seasons are changing. Like everything has flipped. Like everything is different. You know what I mean? Like this is the 5th country I've moved to live. This is the 5th place I'm actually settling down to live. So it's not like I've done it before. It's not like I haven't done it before, but still new. It's still a struggle.
Yeah.
It's challenging, man. But from a big shift like that, a big change like that, to a simple change or shift, like feeling a little bit under the weather today, these are opportunities, small opportunities like me, headache or chills, throat. These are little. This is just like insignificant to major shifts. Loss of someone, losing your job, like major shifts like that. If we can just change our perspective towards what these things are, just nothing but an opportunity for you to grow, nothing but an opportunity for you to redefine and rebuild. And I know it's not easy to hear this if you're in that phase right now, but a change in perspective, a shift in the way we analyze our situation as human beings, even with the whole virus. So like everything that's happening, if you turn on the TV, certain things are being broadcast and certain things aren't. If you change the channel, look at, the Eastern, like what's happening in China right now, what's happening in South America, what's happening in India, what's happening in Canada. If you look at all these things, there's problem everywhere,
Wow.
So we can choose to look at these problems as, oh, this really sucks, and just I'm not going to do anything and just get pissed off, or choose to, you know, do good things. Like I posted the other day, good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Have positive thoughts, positive actions, and speak positively. So that's what I mean by perspective. Shift shift the way you look at things so you see it from a positive end. It's not
Oh,
easy,
wow.
but I really encourage everyone to do so.
And that maybe that's like a another like hammering point here is it's if it were meant to be easy, everyone would be doing it, right? And if it's what you want, like be the change you want to see in the world. Like that's like a little mantra I have for myself when I get kind of in those spots where I see things that like aggravate me. I'm like, well, what can I do with this right now? Can I go and change this person that's done this thing that's externally aggravating? No, I can learn how to deal with my own stuff and align it and not, become a better version of the man I'm continuing to become. And that means as well, I can take that energy instead of wasting it on, being angry or like something that's not creative. I can take it and be an energy recycler and deploy it into something creative.
You have control over that. Like I watched The Matrix 2 days ago, original Matrix. If you haven't seen The Matrix, then you should. If you haven't seen it in a while, it was so surreal to watch The Matrix right now. It was just like, oh my! I had to pause some areas. I was like, this is 1999. Like, are you
Yeah.
kidding me? You know, like how did that? Anyways, like if you look at just like how it was, the story that was told, and some fiction, some relative, whatever you want to believe, some reality. It's a lot. All of it, we have control of it. That's the whole message of the story, right? You have
Yeah.
control over your decisions, your mind, everything you do. Um, in the first scene, when Neo went to see Morpheus in that hotel, in that room, they're sitting on the little red couches, and he asks Neo, "Is like, do you believe in fate?" And Neo says, "No, because I don't like the idea. I don't like to believe in the idea that I don't have control over my life." So I feel the same too. I've never believed that, no matter what you do in life, your fate is written for you. That's bullshit. We develop our fate. We create it every day, every second, every moment, every instant, based on the actions that we take. And you're giving opportunities. The negative things that happen in your life, like I was telling you, my coach would say, this is an opportunity for you to level up. So if you have this little whatever, you're under the weather today, I could have just canceled. I'm sure you would have been fine with it. You were like, oh, now, dude, I understand. We'll just reschedule, and no hard feelings, right? And we'll do it next week, and we would have got it done. But I looked at it as a challenge, as an opportunity for me to say, you know what? Yeah, my head is pounding here. I'll just put on a hat. I'm going to look goofy, but I'll just put on this, I'll put my toque on, and then I can't really, my ears are drumming, like, it's like, it's like, I can't really hear myself well, but let's still do this, and let's just dope up on a lot of lemon ginger tea, and let's just do it. I'm not going to die. Or is this really the virus? I'm just like, oh, I hope it is. So I can get rid of it. It's like, I got it and I beat it. Just put another star on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Like as an opportunity. So you can look at it that way. You can welcome something bad,
Yeah.
or you can just stay away from it, and just, lock down.
Well, what like for everybody that's listening, go back to that after this show is like the biggest gem right there is like it's your choice to reposition all of that. Like you summed it up beautifully, Nader. It's like it comes down to a choice. Are you going to use this as something detracting or additive in your life? Pick. Either way, like, but be good with the pick and know that the you're not always good things are going to happen, but you can make a choice to make the best out of those. And if you start making the best out of those more often than not, more good things are going to happen.
Yeah, and just have more not faith, have more faith in yourself, you know? Just like believe in yourself. You know what I mean? It's just like,
Yeah.
I hate to say believe in yourself, you know, but like just have more faith, because we put the entire faith into someone else's hand. We just
Yeah.
turn on the TV, listen to the radio. Sorry, man, no one listens to the radio anymore. It's just me.
Podcast.
Forget that. You know, radio used to be this old device that we used to, communicate through. Video, podcast, and just would listen to someone, and they could be really great, like you and I are,
Obviously.
experts in hypnotism, and just really, influence someone and persuade and think certain way. Please don't listen to us. Like Gene said earlier, just go back and listen to this part, or as you listen to it, make your own decision. Make your own mind, because ultimately, you need to know why you made that decision and the reason for you. Your why could be different than
Yeah.
Gene's or the mine. And then if you failed and you didn't get the outcome you wanted, you can go back and fix a portion of, how you did things, the actions you took or you didn't take. You can redesign that journey and go on your own path, right? Pave your own path. Is Man, if we all were able to do that, that would be great.
Yeah, and you know what? To build on your pave the path metaphor, is like start. Like it doesn't. Everyone has a start, and you have to just to put the first brick down, and you're going to learn along the way. And the first few sections are going to be dirty. Let them be messy. Get messy and get into it. But you get started and start figuring out where it is you want to go, right? Like, and if you don't know where that is yet, could be in your life, could be within relationships, and if you're looking for a career, well, that's what Nader's going to help you with. But you're able to go through like his 3-step process to figure out what does actually speak to you, what does call to you, and then go do that, right? Like in perspective, I'm a 41-year-old man, and I look now at life going, I'm not even halfway. I'm not even at the halfway mark. Be like, all these things I learned over the last 30 years, like imagine how I'm going to apply that over the next 60 years. Like there is time, and there's no reason not to get messy and to continue to learn.
Yeah. And no one's, like we all go through that, like for me, the place that I'm procrastinating is like starting my YouTube page. It's like, and I got this ring light. I've got my camera. You can probably see it back there.
Yeah.
Everything's ready. It's just like I got my journal and everything. I'm like planning everything out. Like I planned like freaking like so many episodes. I haven't recorded one video yet.
What's holding you back?
Just the first step, the first step, how is it going to be? Uncertainty of what it's going to look. How am I going to grow it? Will people like it? So we all go through that, So it's not like I'm perfect or Gene's perfect. Or, when you cross 35, you're never going to have this problem. No, it's just we all go through it in different areas.
Yeah.
You just got to know what's debilitating you right now. Like having a YouTube account or not, it's not taking anything away from me. I just want to do it more, So it's like that might be just right there. What I just did is an excuse. It could be my excuse. It is, I guess.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's not like I have no other way to generate leads for my business, So it's not critical. It's not that I need food right now and I just stop going to the grocery store until I grow some potatoes in my backyard, So it's not a matter of being stubborn,
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to take actions on certain things. Sometimes you need to go to the grocery store. Sometimes you need to hire someone to help you with something. But ultimately, we're not saying here that we're perfect or we're immune of these challenges. We all go through a different areas, and we just don't want to make sure that your inability to act stops you from like making significant progress or put your own life or health or family or career in risk.
Oh yeah, exactly right. Like, well, and it's the word significant progress. That's that ties right back to that word patience that you used earlier. Is like you only get to significant progress over time. You're always going to wildly overestimate what you can do in a year and wildly underestimate what you can do in 10. So to that, it's like you just got to get started knowing like wherever you are in your journey is always going to feel like you haven't accomplished enough yet. That's okay. Sit with it. Go with that. Use it if you need to keep pulling you forward. But just know, like, you're going to look back at any given point. You get 3 months in, 6 months in, a year in, you're going to look back going, wow, we actually did a lot. Like, it's not as much as I thought, but we did a lot and I've learned a lot. What's going to happen next year?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you 100%.
Incredible pieces of wisdom here, man. So you talked a little bit about a 3-step process. I'm kind of curious to if you're willing to give us a bit of a glance into, like, what's your framework around your 3 steps?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, definitely would love to share that. Again, going back to taking a fundamental approach to job searching, because what the average person knows of job searching is you're going to go to google.com and type in the title that you want. You want to be a software engineer in San Francisco, and you press enter. And these websites come up, and these websites are like the savior. You know what I mean? Indeed.com. Indeed is going to get me the job. Was like nothing can be further from the truth. You know, it's actually completely the opposite way around. You know, online job boards result in like create the least, they're the least effective, lowest success rate ever. Why? Because very simply, mathematically speaking, the highest number of people apply through a job board.
Right.
You know, second largest group of people apply to a company's website. You know, so if you want to work at Google, great, wonderful, let's do it. But going to google.com and just applying for the first job or 10 jobs, it's not really going to take you that far because you're one of the 4,000 people that did that today. You're going to have another 3,000 people tomorrow. So it's just like, you gotta avoid playing the lottery, you know. But again, it's the lottery companies and the media companies and the ads that persuade us to play the lottery. It's like they do a really good job at selling us the dream. What if you win the lottery? What if, you know, you just click, 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 or scratch, 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 and oh, I got 3 diamonds. Oh, I got one. This is funny.
Hey.
That's cool, you know, that's cool. But it's just like, how many people do you know that, you know, and how many people went through the same process? What percentage got results?
Yeah.
So I like to kind of like show people data, and on my LinkedIn profile, there's data that backs it up. I learned about that. I learned the data when I started recruiting and hiring and learned about what do employers do, what are the different best practices, different standard operating procedures. And I realized that pretty much the last thing they do and the last thing they think about is to post their job online. That's why most jobs aren't posted. That's why we have the hidden job market.
I was about to say, maybe give a bit of an understanding to what the hidden job market is for somebody that's going, oh, wait, you mean there's a better way than just submitting through Indeed, LinkedIn, or the website?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the hidden job market are the jobs that are unadvertised. So you can learn about the hidden job market or the unadvertised job market. It's just out of 10 jobs, maybe 2 of them will get to a point that they'll need to be advertised or outsourced to a recruiting agency. Like, those are very costly methods of hiring someone. So an employer, you and I, if we wanted to hire someone, we wouldn't just start by saying, well, who can I pay for? We don't do that. I'm learning on how to build a YouTube account on YouTube. It's free, you know. I could have just paid someone. You know, I did a consultation, it's $20,000. Okay, thank you so much. You know, it's been nice meeting you. I'll put my 20K in my pocket and I'll spend the next 6 months watching YouTube videos. That's the decision that I made at that time. Correct or not correct, really doesn't matter. But when we go through making a shift like that, like going from being unemployed to employed, that is a fundamental problem to be solved. You want to make sure you follow the same path as an employer would to hire you, and you want to follow the same. You want to be on the same routine, on the same road, rather than like going from the same direction. So you're beside them rather than just jumping at the end of the road, waiting for jobs to get to you. Oh, just come at the beginning of the road. Just start your journey with the employers. That's number one. Fundamentally, that will give you the opportunity to view the unadvertised job and get access to it. That's number one. Number two, it's like, okay, well, how do I do that? Because if the jobs are not going to be advertised and you're telling me that, you know, I can't really go apply online, then how else do I look for work? and I have people scratching their head just like I was. I have people totally confused, just like I was. I'm not blaming anyone here. I was exactly in that position. I did that for 3 years. Applied online for 3 years, 2007, 2010, and I gave up on my entire life and career. So, and that's ultimately what drives me to do what I do. A decade later, still do what I do, and I will never stop doing it
Yeah.
because I know there's people who are getting to the same space. Hopefully, they learn how much better and faster they can get hired, but their current programming, going back to the matrix, their current understanding is that job searching means applying online. That's the only thing, and they don't know anything else. So they go through this phase of, well, if I don't, then what do I do with my resume? So there's this whole confusion, right? That's why I start to coach them on, well, that's not how hiring is done. That's just one of the tools to automate, to gather data. Like look at 20 years ago, before the birth of the internet.
Yeah.
We still had companies, we still had, employers, we still had job seekers. It was more of a direct process. It was just making human to human connections. So it was all networking. At the end of the day, when it was affordable to buy stamps and print out, because it used to be pretty expensive to print out your resume, and
Yeah.
you saved your money to kind of like print your resume on a thicker paper, and you were all excited. I did that. So we're not talking about the 18th century. I did that, paying for the thicker paper, like, oh shit, man, this is like 17 cents more. I hate this. It's like you paid the extra 17 cents, but you so hopeful that, okay, this thicker paper is getting me the job, like hands down, I got this.
I can remember having those conversations many years ago and doing that kind of stuff. Be like, how can I make this thing stand out? And like hearing this now is just like, well, you're right. Like, what if you're competing with 4,000 other people, and so you're all going to the same fish, and you just happen to be like, well, I'm a little bit darker gray than the other fish, and here it is. Be like, chances are no one ever reads it anyways, and it's just it's a tactic to make you feel good versus a tactic to actually get you closer to your goal.
It's a process for the employer, not a process, not a tool for the job seeker. The job seeker is being fooled into thinking or believing that if I apply online, they have my resume, so there's definitely going to be a recruiter looking through my profile, and then I have all the skills, so why didn't they call me back?
Yeah.
Like we got to understand and accept the fact that if there's one job and 100 resumes, at least 50 of those people have the skills to do the job.
Yeah.
So it's just like impossible and unnecessary to interview 50 people because only one person gets the job.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why it's so difficult to narrow down those 100 resumes down to 5. Because they have to eliminate 95 resumes. At least 45 of them are qualified resumes. Yeah. It comes down to like really, really small, minute things. And that's just a game I don't like to play. I used to play, it didn't work. I see other people playing and failing. It's just a gamble. I'm not a gambler. Like, I don't want you to be a gambler. So how do we avoid that? How do we get better results? How do we get over the applicant tracking system? I always get that question. How do you get over it? Which keywords do I use? Like, it's not, you overcome it by not dealing with it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's a monster in this room. How do I go through this room to get to the other room? You don't go through this room, go through the balcony, like take a different path.
Yeah.
Sure, the balcony is a little bit longer. Sure, it's going to be outside. There's wind and stuff, so it's a little bit of work, but there's a short way path to the next room. You're going to get there.
Yeah.
You will get there. There's a person there that it'll be less crowded, so you're going to go through and much faster, So the success rate is backed by data. It works better because more hiring managers are actually hiding from the balcony. They're
right.
hiding from the long path. You just gotta, again, believe in yourself, learn the process, and take the little bit of a longer path because it would be more effective. It actually gets you the final outcome, which is an interview, and then interview gets into a job offer.
Yeah.
So a lot of what I teach is those fundamentals, and as soon as it clicks, then the first step, let's say part of my coaching program, is really all focused on personal branding. Develop your resume, cover letter, LinkedIn. phase number two, or step number two of that formula, is all about networking, which is what kind of we talked about. But you have to first understand networking is different. We're going to find a hiring manager in a company that I want to work for and start a conversation with them. Establish a dialogue. Prove to them why I want to work in this organization and how I can help.
Yeah.
It's not really about a job yet. You'll get there. You'll talk about a job, but so many other things we got to talk about to get them to know you, like you, trust you, and you know what I mean? Then get there. So step number two is all networking. Step number three is all interviewing, improving your communication skills, developing clarity and confidence. So, you're the last man or last woman standing, because ultimately one person gets hired and it gets really competitive during the interview process, because your resume and the resume of other people who are interviewing for that job look very similar. The differentiating factor is your personality.
Right. It's how you show up. Yeah, that's a great point. Be like, as soon as you're in that part, everything else that came to it no longer matters. It's how you're going to show up, how you're going to build rapport and everything. The thing that stands out from all that, Nader, is I think there's a quote in there about, find your way to the balcony, or find your balcony. Well, that's going to be a little hashtag under Nader there eventually. I think that's a great metaphor for people to use. It's like, climb to the balcony. It's going to be an adventure, but you don't get eaten by the dragon. Like, win-win.
Yeah. It's just then there's the resistance, then there's I know how to do it. I know this friend who got hired. I got it this morning.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how my husband got hired at Google. I'm like, I'm really happy for him. Just like, that's awesome. That's so cool. That's a success. I love that. But again, we get persuaded, and that person starts telling everybody they applied online and they got hired at Google. It's like, oh my God, I'm gonna stop doing everything instead of just applying online. We go through tunnel vision.
You flip it back, be like, somebody every week wins the lottery. Somebody every week wins the lottery, right? And so you just got to go, oh wow, congratulations, that's awesome. I'm not playing the lottery. I'm playing I'm doing a totally different game. I'm climbing balconies. So we're both trying to do something, but I'm doing a different game.
Yeah, I mean, the sad part is that, again, I'm saying this again, I've done it. I've been through it. What I'm about to tell you is a decision that I made, is how I spoke. I've been the other side. I've done all the crazy stuff. I've made all the mistakes, consciously and unconsciously. Just like I used to, I see today that it's too much work. The balcony is a little bit too far. I'd rather go in the room and face the dragon. Knowing I see a track record of all these dead bodies who have been eaten by a dragon, and all this, all the stuff that dragons spit out is on the other side. I see that with my own eyes, because data doesn't lie. But man, the balcony is windy,
It might get wet. It might be cold.
Wet.
That discomfort. At least here,
I bother them. I get that all the time. Again, I used to do that too. So again, I'm not. Am I not going to be? I don't want to be a pest. I don't want to bother the hiring manager. All these things that we feel like we're going to do, right? Am I going to be annoying? Like, should I follow up again? Isn't that annoying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is annoying if you want it to be annoying. If you are annoying, but then if you do it this way, it's not going to be annoying. Exactly. It's like, I'm just going to wait another week.
Nothing's going to change in that week, other than it's just going to more resistance that you have to overcome.
They're going to keep forgetting you more and more, because as time goes by, people become forgetful.
Yeah. And there's so much going on. You're only going to be able to hold space for like what's immediately in front of you, right? So Nader, remember how I said during our before the show, I was going to look up, be like, hey, we're at 40 minutes. We're at 45 minutes, brother. I want to be respectful of your time. So there's been some great gems dropped in here. So before we go on to the last question of the show, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
I'm always on LinkedIn, so it would be great to reach out and connect. I love LinkedIn as a communication tool, because we can send each other voice messages using the mobile app. Yeah. We can just be really, I'm very hands-on. I like to get very, close and personal. So LinkedIn is the best place. reach out, connect with me. And there are other sources as well. As always, you can Google my name and find a website, find all these great stuff. Find the beginning of the YouTube channel that I haven't launched yet. All that good stuff. But I live on LinkedIn. I've been on LinkedIn for 13 years. It's the best tool out there for, career development and a lot of other good stuff. So would love to connect with anyone who's watching.
All right, we just dropped a link here on YouTube, Facebook. So make sure you go check that out and get connected with Nader. So before I let you go, my friend, I ask everybody the same question at the end of the show is we're going to hop into a time machine. We're going to dial it back and go back for 10 years. You're going to hop out and you're going to give yourself one piece of advice. What would that be?
Going back to, pursuing delayed gratification rather than instant gratification. So if we go back 10 years, in a week from today, exactly on 30th of September, it's the 10th year anniversary of me starting my own business.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's been 10 years that I've been doing this on my own. And the first 3 years were disastrous, lost everything, got depressed. Because I left like a 6-figure job to start my own business, right? So it's like I had so much blame, so much, so much negativity, went deep down into dark hole of drinking, drugs, tried to kill myself on January 1st, 2013. I think I've shared that with you before. So like things like that, that was really a dark time in my life, right? So it's just interesting that we're kind of like coming up to the 10th year anniversary of that. And I would just say, work on your character. You don't have to have things right away. Because I went after just wanting to make money. That's it. I'll say it. It was all about money. Where today it's not. I mean, financially speaking, this year has been the worst year of my business. It's embarrassing to tell you how much money I've made this year, but I'm fine with it. I'm completely fine with it because my vision has changed. What I hold valuable has changed. My purpose hasn't changed because the purpose is still the same, but what I expect of myself has changed because my character hasn't further developed. And I know, just like you said, you can really underestimate what you can achieve within a year, and you can really underestimate what you can achieve in a decade. A decade ago, I could not have imagined being here at all, right? So I would say just focus on you. Personal development is key. Character development is key.
I love that.
Just, like Gary Vaynerchuk would say, be patient. I know we talked about patience earlier. Be patient and like downgrade. I'm going through further downgrade right now, so I don't have so much overhead, so you can make a little bit of money. You're not driving yourself crazy by the end of the month bills, so you can have the time to work on yourself and develop that joy and fulfillment and contentment from within.
I love it. Totally love that answer, my friend. Well, thank you so much for being guest number 57 on here. I so appreciate your time in this conversation. There were a lot of gems, and this show is all about sharing some of those and turning them into billboards. And I feel like that's been done today. So I just want to honor that and wish you a speedy recovery and hope your head doesn't hurt tomorrow. And as well to everybody else that's watching, thanks for being here and joining us for episode 57 of the Pealed Back's LiveCast Conversations With. And this week, I want you to find one thing to stir something up in your life, to light that fire up. You can do it. Now go get it. We'll talk to you soon.